Olódùmarè ọmọdé òjò ń ṣaláìsí àwọn kan ṣàyè tàwa máa lọ àwọn kan ń ṣọdún àwọn kan ń sunkún àwọn kan ń wojú Olódùmarè ènìyàn rere wọ̀n ìpẹ́ lọ ẹni burúkú mọ́ ń pẹ́ nílẹ̀ o ọ̀rọ̀ ayé ṣòro ọ̀rọ̀ ayé ṣòro ọ̀rọ̀ ayé ṣòro ọ̀rọ̀ ayé màlé o ọ̀rọ̀ ayé màlé kò má yé wa o ọ̀rọ̀ ayé gbẹ̀gẹ́ ọ̀rọ̀ ayé gbẹ̀gẹ́ ọ̀rọ̀ ayé gbẹ̀gẹ́ ọ̀rọ̀ ayé ṣòro ọ̀rọ̀ ayé ṣòro kò má yé wa.
On 103.5 FM.
This is on 103.5 FM. The time is 12 o'clock.
Láti ìkànnì ọ̀nà 103.5 FM. Aago méjìlá lù.
On 103.5 FM.
This is the news on Honor 103.5 FM. Honor FM News. Accurate, transparent, undiluted. We go there. We bring you the news behind the news. Honor FM News. If it's new, then it's news.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the World News at noon on Honor 103.5 FM. I am Timitope Dada. And the news this afternoon, nationwide blackout as grid suffers 10th collapse in 2024. On the African news, South Africa shuts border crossing with Mozambique. On the foreign scene, protests erupt in Israel after Netanyahu fires defense minister. And business CSE to implement disputes grievance committee. In entertainment, Davido slammed for voting in US and not Nigeria. While in sports, Madrid eyes Lookman as Vinicius' replacement. Now the news in detail. Nigerians were on Tuesday plunged into darkness following another collapse of the national power grid. Checks by news correspondents confirmed yesterday that the grid lost power generation. The transmission company of Nigeria confirmed the development, saying that the national grid experienced a partial disturbance at about 1:52 p.m. on the 5th of November 2024. Meanwhile, TCN spokesperson Ndidi Umba said it followed a series of lines and generators tripping that caused instability of the grid and consequently the partial disturbance of the system. Mba said data from the National Control Center revealed that a part of the grid was not affected by the bulk power disruption. Also in the news this afternoon, President Bola Tinubu has announced the death of Lieutenant General Tarid Abiodun Lagbaja, Chief of Army Staff, who passed away yesterday night in Lagos following an illness at the age of 56. This was disclosed in a statement by the Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga. Lieutenant General Lagbaja, appointed Chief of Army Staff on June 19, 2023, by President Tinubu, was a respected leader in the Nigerian Armed Forces, and over his 3-decade career, Lieutenant General Lagbaja held numerous significant posts. President Tinubu extended condolences to the bereaved family and the Nigerian Armed Forces, praising the general's distinguished service to the nation. And moving on to the African scene, South Africa has closed one of its busiest border crossings with Mozambique following violent post-electoral protests in the neighboring country. The protests have led to deadly clashes in several cities following last month's disputed presidential election won by Mozambique's ruling Frelimo party. The South African border agency said that travelers have been advised to use alternative crossing points between the two countries. Michael Masiopato, South Africa's Border Management Authority Commissioner, said the South African side was not affected, but safety measures needed to be taken. However, reports say protesters on the Mozambican side of the border have burnt down an immigration office in that country. And moving on to the foreign scene, a sleepless night has been the reality for millions of U.S. citizens on the night of Tuesday to Wednesday, November 6, as thousands of election workers and voters around the country are up at watch parties, keeping an eye on the counting. Hours earlier, former President Donald Trump arrived in Palm Beach to cast his ballot, although his main contender Kamala Harris voted a couple of days earlier. Meanwhile, Donald Trump has declared victory in the U.S. election as he addresses jubilant supporters in Florida and in some states, with a vote count of 51% against Kamala Harris, 47.3% of the vote. Lacrosse coming from Israel this afternoon. Protests have erupted in Israel after President Benjamin Netanyahu fired the country's defense minister, Yoav Gallant. Netanyahu said a crisis of trust between the two leaders led to his decision, adding that his trust in Gallant had eroded in recent months and Foreign Minister Israel Katz will step in to replace him. Gallant said his removal was due to disagreements on 3 issues, including his belief that it is possible to get the remaining hostages back from Gaza if Israel makes painful concessions, which it can bear. Many protesters on the streets were calling for Netanyahu to resign and demanding the new defense minister prioritize a hostage deal. Also coming from Ukraine, North Korean soldiers have clashed with Ukrainian troops for the first time, according to the Ukraine top officials. This is as stated in an interview by the Ukrainian defense minister, Rustem Umerov. Ukrainian leader Zelensky, who had earlier condemned the West's lack of response to North Korean troops, said the first battles with North Korea opened a new chapter of instability in the world. In recent weeks, South Korean and U.S. intelligence as well as NATO have said they have seen evidence of North Korean troops being involved in Russia's war, but Moscow and Pyongyang so far have not responded directly to any of the allegations. If you are just joining us, you're listening to the World News at Ono 103.5 FM Ibadan. Do not forget to follow us on all our social media handles at Ono 103.5 FM, and you can also listen live on the Radio Garden app at Ono FM Ibadan. And now to the business report. Corporate Affairs Commission, in line with Section 85, 2020, has established an Administrative Proceeding Committee, APC, to resolve disputes arising from implementation of the Act. The Commission urges customers with grievances to bring their complaints to the committee instead of the courts, saying their complaints will be attended to for free. Meanwhile, the Registry General, Hussaini Magaji, said that the CAC will work with the British High Commission in Abuja and Lagos, assuring that no document will be left behind without capturing. On the entertainment scene this afternoon, Nigerian-American Afrobeat star Davido has faced backlash from fans after excitedly announcing that he participated in the ongoing presidential election in the U.S. Recall that as election day dawned in the U.S. on November 5, 2024, Davido took to the X handle to post a picture of him holding his vote sticker, happily announcing that he exercised his civil right for the first time. However, his post was not well received by many Nigerians who accused him of not being as vocal about the Nigerian presidential elections in 2023 as he is now. Outraged, scores of X users took to his comment section to call him out for reportedly not voting in Nigeria. And finally, in sports, Spanish giants Real Madrid have joined in the race for Ademola Lookman, with the UEFA Champions League holders hoping to bring the Nigerian to Santiago Bernabeu as a replacement for Vinicius Jr. Lookman has amassed 39 goals and provided 23 assists in 90 competitive appearances for the Italian side. Last season, the 27-year-old Lookman featured in 45 matches, scoring 17 goals and providing 10 assists. His standout moment came in the UEFA Europa League final against Bayer Leverkusen. Madrid is preparing for a possible departure of their star forward Vinicius, with Al Hilal reportedly preparing a record-breaking €300 million bid for the Brazilian. And that was the world news at noon at Ono 103.5 FM. Before we go, here is a recap of the major stories. On the national news today, we informed you that there was a nationwide blackout as grid has suffered 10 collapse in 2024. On the African news, South Africa has shut border crossing with Mozambique. And on the foreign scene, protests have erupted in Israel after Netanyahu fired the defense minister. In business, Corporate Affairs Committee has decided to implement Dispute Grievance Committee. And in sports, Madrid now eyes Lookman as Vinicius' replacement. For eyewitness reports, news mentions, and news commercials, contact the Honor FM newsroom at 0817-675-5555 or 0913-600-1035. You can also visit our website at www.honorfm1035.net for more information. The World News was edited by Anuoluwapo Idowu. On behalf of the producer, Richard Ekpo, I am Timitokwe Dada. Thanks for listening.
And that was the news on Honor 103.